Yo, what's up guys, Braum Iron Fist here, back again with another video. Today's video is going to be a little different as opposed to last week. We did an analysis, and the week prior we did the review for Season 1 for Call of Duty. Today's more of a discussion, and I want to discuss the drip feeding of content in video games, because I've been reading a lot around, people have been discussing it a lot. So essentially, for those of you who don't know what drip feeding of content is, I'm going to put up an image on screen now of the Call of Duty Season 1, the thing that they showed to kind of show everyone what's coming out. So you got your multiplayer maps, you got Crash, Vacant, Shipment, Ground War, you got Port, and the gunfight maps, Cargo, Atrium, and more. And essentially, what it is drip feeding of content is they offered all this content up front, but the thing is, the and more for Gunfight, Vacant, and Shipment were given to us at a later date. And a lot of people like it, a lot of people dislike it, and I'm going to give my opinion on it, and I'd like you to give yours down below in the comments after we talk about it a little bit more. I do have gameplay in the background of me playing on the two new maps, new being in quotation marks, because they ain't really new, because we've seen them before, but for the sake of the video, they're new, I guess you could say. So for this discussion, we're going to base it around 3 games that I know drip feed content, those 3 being Red Dead Redemption Online, Grand Theft Auto Online, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And we're going to look at how they drip feed content and what they are drip feeding. So the first 2 cases of drip feeding of content we're going to be looking at today is going to be Red Dead Redemption Online and Grand Theft Auto Online. I know everyone has their opinions on those, but we're not here talking about what the thing is as a whole, rather the drip feeding of content and how it's handled. And so for Grand Theft Auto Online, it's a good example because it's going to be happening soon. Is I think a day or 2 ago they released Casino Heist. I can't recall exactly, but good thing they released it just in time for the holidays. I know all the 12-year-olds are creaming their pants right now. Can't wait to get some of that Christmas money and buy some microtransactions. But this video is not about microtransactions. I'll leave that for another day. We're here to talk about drip feeding of content. And essentially what they're doing is they will have cars finished that they'll drop in the update, but then they'll drop them out one by one by one. Granted, there'll be a nice chunk at launch, but they'll wait a week after week and just drop one car here, one car there, maybe a t-shirt and some pants here, maybe some shoes there. When the content is so meager, to be honest with you, I don't see the necessity for drip feeding it when it's something like that. Like one goddamn car, like I can see from a development standpoint, it's good for player attention to have the players come back because there's always going to be something new for them. But like I said, when the content is so small, just one single car, what's going to make me come back to play the game for one single car? That probably cost me like $2.5 million, and it probably looks like a soccer mom van. Why would I spend $2.5 million on a soccer mom van? It doesn't make a lick of sense to me, in all honesty. And then the case with Red Dead Redemption is they'll be releasing a few cosmetic items, like with GTA as well, like some T-shirt. Gonna get some assless chaps and some spurs on. Can't wait. But too bad you got to spend probably like $50 for that when everything else pays you about $2.50 per. So you got a lot of grinding to do. You want to be a spiffy cowboy. Like, yeehaw, partner, I can't wait to drop some money to buy me some golden spurs. Now, that don't make a lick of sense to me, partner. Why the hell are you going to release it all at once? But nah, in all seriousness, I do have both Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto 5. But I wait for the big content drops to come back because there's more content to digest, and it makes it more worth coming back to. As opposed to, I follow Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto on Twitter, so every now and again it'll be like, ugh, the new. I can't name any cars, so let's just say I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't name any car brands from that game off the top of my head. But it'll be like the oh yeah, there we go. The new fucking Dinka fucking Fumanjaro motorcycle. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, that don't make me want to come back. Same with Red Dead Redemption. I want Red Dead Redemption to be good, but in the current state it's in, it's not. Especially when they added these cool career paths, but you got to spend like $5 worth of gold, which is $5 of microtransactions. I should have just said that to begin with. But you got to spend money to make money, I guess, at the end of the day. But in a fucking video game, I spent $60 on, man. You gotta cut me some slack here. I know I'm going off on a bit of a rant here. I apologize, but I feel like I should just get that off my chest. So now we're going to look at our next case, this being Call of Duty Modern Warfare and their drip feeding of content. And like I showed with the that picture that they released with the maps they promised. We only got one or two. We only got one 6v6 map at launch, that being Crash, and then we ended up getting Vacant and Shipment yesterday. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think the way Call of Duty's doing it is a bit better, where it's a meteor chunk, but that's also when the content launches, it's not a bigger chunk. You know what I'm saying? It takes away from that greater experience at launch by dicing it up. So as opposed to Red Dead Online and Grand Theft Auto Online, where it's like, get like a fucking hat, get a horse, get a car you can't even buy. That's so small compared to the main attraction. That being whatever that DLC is in Grand Theft Auto's case, that being the heist. The case of Call of Duty is going to be these new maps, but when you only give like one ground war map, one 6v6 map, and then I think it was two gunfight maps. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard to make a proper stance on if drip feeding is good or bad because it all depends on where you stand. It's very subjective because they have this big bulk of content, but the thing is with Call of Duty though, when you look at it, is Vacant and Shipment, they already had those maps done at launch. You know that because Vacant is in the Docks map that they released a few weeks ago. So they already have the maps done. What is the point of waiting? I mean, in the case of player retention, if someone's not going to come back for the big bulk, the big meaty chunk of all the maps, the battle pass and all that, I don't think they're going to shimmy their way on in for like Shipment or something like that. I mean, in the case of my friends, they did because I mean one of them because he's 10 years old and has the attention span of a goldfish, so all he can do, he has to run around and see explosions every 5 seconds or he gets turned off. But I guess it just comes down to who you are and what you feel is best. Because me personally, in my opinion, I the drip feeding in Grand Theft, in honesty, I don't like drip feeding. But if I were to say who's doing it better and who's doing it worse, I would say that Call of Duty is doing it better because by releasing a big chunk and then releasing a big chunk, as opposed to a big chunk and then like a 64th of that chunk and then a 64th of that chunk and then a 64th of that chunk. And from a development stance, I don't think that does good for player attention. Like I said plenty of times, I probably said player attention several times. Plenty of times, actually, as a matter of fact. Several would probably be about 4 or 5. I've definitely said that shit plenty of times. So with that whole player attention um, ramble aside, the thing is that it comes down to is it's hard to form an opinion on whether drip feeding is good or bad because the content on Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto is so insignificant. It's not like that even matters. Like a car here, a T-shirt here, it's insignificant. Why should you be upset by that? In the case of Call of Duty, it was a map. It was a map or two. I can't recall exactly. It was two maps, and two gunfight maps. But the gunfight maps was just Shipment and then Doc's Winter. So it's just more rehashed content they're feeding us that's been drip fed to us. And that's why it's hard to form an opinion on whether or not drip fed content is good or bad because I'm kind of indifferent. I don't care. I think Call of Duty did mess up a little bit because you can't just promise stuff that's already done because Vacant was in the ground war map Docks. So you can't just. Why do you have to wait 2 weeks to give us this map? It don't make any sense to me. Will it make someone come back to play? Perhaps it might. Perhaps it won't. But at the end of the day, I feel like just one single map that's just a remake that's already done. Why can't you just release that with the other bulk of the content? Give us more content to digest right away, as opposed to a little like a big chunk here and then a little bit, and a little bit. I know I probably said the same stuff repeatedly, but that's the problem with drip fed content is a lot of people like it, a lot of people dislike it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's for me personally, I said me personally a lot too, but for me as a person, it's I don't it doesn't really affect me or hurt my feelings in any way because something like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, it's so insignificant it don't matter. Something like Call of Duty though, that's where it's kind of an issue a little bit because it's already done. It should have been out at originally. But the thing is that no one's getting hurt, no one's getting robbed out of money. It's a free map. So all the drip fed content's usually free. If it's something that you pay for though, that's an issue. That's an issue. And I'm glad that we haven't seen that stuff yet. But if we ever do, that'll be hell. And I'll definitely make a video on that. That would disgust me. I would throw up in my mouth. So that's the problem now with games, I think, and this games adopting a live service model is what the game developers are doing is they're seeing that as a way to push out less content at launch and wait more in the long term. And I think that's the whole thing with the drip feeding of content is for the long term investment to get players invested in the long term. So essentially like a game like Battlefield 5. At launch the game was nothing, there was no content. It was horrible. And now every week they'll release like a map or two. I know just recently they had that big Pacific update. I might drop a review on that because I was pretty interested in that. But so they'll release like a map, and then they'll release like a weapon, and they'll release like a weapon. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why couldn't they just do it as a big chunk? If they did as a big chunk, I feel like that would bring more players back. But again, like I said, in the short term, because the thing is, in the long term, people will play more and more, and I think again with the long term, that's more opportunities for people to spend money, as opposed to the short term. By someone dropping $15 for a map pack, they get the map pack they want. There's no reason for them once they get bored of those 4 maps to come back. But at least if they release these little weapons and these maps per se, I wouldn't say the maps. The maps are kind of just there. But these weapons, these players will come back eventually, and they'll be playing like, hey, I didn't want that weapon, but you can't because you missed when it came out a while ago. So the challenges are no longer there for you to do it. So now you got to spend money to get it. With all that being said, I think this is a good place to wrap up today's video. I know I did go off a lot and say some random stuff, and stuff that kind of was getting loosely on drip feeding of content. But at the end of the day, I do feel what I said, everything I said was pertinent to the idea of drip feeding of content because it all affects how developers approach making games, and it affects the games industry as a whole. So feel free to comment what you think down below. If you have any feedback from me making my videos on how I can improve or what I could do better, feel free to share. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So yeah, I feel I appreciate all you who've stayed towards the end and watched the whole video. Thank you so much. If you liked the video, you like what you saw, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. I mean, I already asked you to comment. Don't need to comment again. But yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.